Welcome to the Breeding Gold Knuckleheads podcast. As always, riding shotgun. It's my main man, Reggie. What's going on today, Reg?
Ken, what's going on, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. All things considered. The since we live in Dallas, I'm stuttering and stammering getting started here, but living in Dallas, I didn't quite catch as much grief this week because the Cowboys took a loss also, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're talking about everything burgundy and gold. We're going to look back at the Kansas City game, and we're also going to look forward at the Seattle game and see if we can get things turned around on that. But as I said, we're going to turn and look at the Seattle game. I'm sorry, at the Chiefs game. Commanders fall to 3-5. I wouldn't have thought we'd been 3-5, right? When the season started, maybe 4-4, maybe, but not 3-5. And you would have been probably, I would have been struggling to think that we were 4-4.
Well, those people that predicted those 12 wins, boy. Oof.
Yeah,
Well,
I think I was at 11. We need to get on a streak.
Shit, you need more than a streak.
Yeah, I need a serious streak if I'm going to hit my 11.
Yeah, I remember making the prediction of going 10 wins and got booed for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure we're gonna get 10 wins. I mean, was there nine more games to go, and we got to win? We have to win 6 of the 9. I'm sorry, no, 7 of the 9 just to get the 10 win.
Man.
Yeah, we're not gonna win 7 out of 9 games. Just try to get the 10 wins, right? It's not happening, bro.
Right.
Let me just ask you this, right? Everybody that is a fan of the Burgundy Gold knows that the theme of this season has been injuries, right?
Right.
No, regardless of how you
look at it. To a degree, yes.
But that's the overwhelming, overarching theme of this season. When we look back to this season, it's going to be about the injuries,
right?
And there's other things, but without the injuries, now let's focus on the play.
Okay.
Do you think this team could have gotten the 10 wins? No injuries.
Yeah.
Now you just focus on the play.
Well, it's one of those things that's a little bit of a challenge to say, because if I'm throwing in injuries, am I going to include that Terry was able to be signed at least 2 weeks earlier?
No. Everything happened the way it did, minus Terry getting hurt in game 3.
Okay.
Everything happened the way it did.
I don't know where we would sit, but I think we would be better than 3-5. Maybe we're only 4-4, and we're disappointed at 4-4. But what the injuries from an offensive perspective, between Jaden playing a couple games, he's out for a few games. He's in for a game, he's out for a game. The receivers, they're in, they're out. Terry's playing, he's not playing. Debo's playing, he's not playing. There's no rhythm, there's no sinking. Even at running back, the first couple weeks was all about why am I drawing a blank all of a sudden?
For who? Which week?
Starting running back, week 1.
Austin Eckler.
Jeez, why am I drawing a blank on Eckler? But it was all about Eckler, right? And everybody's like, hey, when's Bill coming? When's Bill coming in? Bill finally gets there. You kind of get a running game going, and then there's other injuries, so teams start stacking the box to take that away. So now there's not a rhythm on that. I mean, I'll go back, and I think there's, even because of these injuries and trying to find out, and I'm only talking on offense right now, what your identity is, what you can do with the players that you have that are playing. Um, I even question some of the play calling that Kingsbury has been calling. Not extreme. I'm not, but I still question. I question it against Kansas City. I've questioned it one or two other games where I don't know what he's doing. And I'll use an example. We don't need to go deep into it at this moment, but Mariota had 8 rushes. Bill had 9 rushes. Right? That shouldn't be. Mariota and a few of those are scrambles, but there's at least half of those were designed runs. He should have 2, maybe 3 designed runs, another 3 scrambles, and that should be it. Everyone else, as far as running backs, had 3. So our running backs had 12 carries total against an explosive offense. And in the first half, we were right there with them. I'll make the argument in the first half that we were playing a little bit better than Kansas City in the first half. Not by much, but I think across the board, we were playing more solid ball, but Washington was making mistakes to hurt themselves. Again,
I don't know.
not
I don't agree with that.
and that's fine, and not by a huge margin. I'm not sitting here going, man, Kansas City got lucky that they was tied. I'm not going that route, but I felt good about how we were playing overall, and if we can keep this up and take it into the fourth quarter, you never know, right? But anyway, even through that, um, how does Bill and the running backs have 12 carries?
I mean, I can. You're not going to agree, but I can explain that. I mean, for me, I didn't get caught up in the number of carries. I look at the flow of the game. Um, Clearly, they wanted to go with the quick quick game. That was
Yep,
very
yep,
evident. They wanted to go with the quick
yes,
game, and they said during the broadcast that Marcus Mariota is a quick up tempo kind of guy. I think the RPO was going to be something that they would, well, not that I was thinking about it, but it was obvious that they thought Kansas City would probably do the same game plan that Chicago and Dallas had, which is load the box and think it's going to be a run, which is going to then open up Marcus to be able to do RPO and get outside and pick up some chunk yards. So to me, that explains a lot of the carries that Marcus had. And then if that began to work, maybe it loosened up the box a little bit, along with the fact that you got Terry and Debo back. And so maybe that was loosening the defense up and allow Bill to run a little bit more. But even with Bill running the ball, it's not like he was tearing it up last night on that game. Um,
well,
hell, I make the
yeah,
let me finish.
yep,
I
yep.
make the argument that they probably should have gave more of the carries to Rodriguez and McNichols. They seem to have better results running in the small amount of carries they got. They seem to be doing a better job than even what Bill was doing.
And I'm
So I'd
fine
make
with
the
that.
argument. So I'd make the argument to give those guys a touch. But if you're just looking at what Bill was able to do or not able to do, Marcus getting the carries to me was part of the game plan, I think, to try to offset what they anticipated Kansas City defense doing, which was loading the box. But look, man, at the end of the day, I know we're one of the top in the league in run as a rush team, but I think those are stats we're living on from early in the season. This team has not been able to
Correct.
run the ball recently, and for the past 3 weeks, it's been ugly. So something has changed, and I don't know what it is, but we're not that running team anymore. And even when Jayton was running the ball early in the season, it wasn't like Jayton was breaking off these big runs like he did last year. And hell,
Sure.
we've been fussing about it at the bar. He's running out of bounds sometimes. It's like throw the ball away.
Yeah.
He's losing a yard or two because he's holding on to the ball and running out of bounds. So he's not even breaking away this season. But look, man,
Uh,
I I like the flow of the game more so than I like necessarily to see how many touches somebody's got. And then at some point when Kansas City came out in the second half and started um, scoring touchdowns, yeah, they abandoned the run. They kind of had to some extent.
at a point they did, but I'll go back. What was the play? I'm trying to think what the exact play was. But it was one of the times where we went for it on fourth down. We whatever we did on first down, it was a pass, and all of a sudden it was third and two. No, I'm sorry. It was second and two, and
Yeah, I
and
know what
we
you're talking about.
we passed. Was that pass to Eckler and another pass to Eckler, and he couldn't pick up 2 yards on two passes, or one Eckler
Not
and one
Eckler.
Debo. Um,
Hold on, not Eckler, man. We don't want our
oh, not
listeners to think
Eckler,
we know what we're
Ertz. I'm
doing, but
sorry, Ertz. Um, and I'm like, why aren't we running the ball twice? One, it helps us establish the run. All you have to do is pick up 2 yards. You don't need to pick up
agree.
seven. And run the ball and pick up 1 yard, run the ball and pick up another yard and a half, and pick up the first down and start to try to wear the defense down a little bit. I'm not saying you're going to do it in two. I'm just saying when you do two here and one there, an additional one there, um, you start dictating your will from an offensive line perspective, right? Everybody has to execute. Quarterback needs to make his passes. People need to catch it. But there was definitely a turning point to your point in the third quarter where Kansas City took control of the game. And look, we didn't think that Washington was going to win coming into this. But what they were doing in the first half, Kansas City made the adjustments and offensively and defensively, and they were successful. Washington either made the wrong adjustments or didn't make adjustments and failed miserably in the second half. Um,
I just think that everything was going right for us in the first half. I think Kansas City made the adjustment, and we didn't have an answer for it. Look, man, at the end of the day, Kansas City is a better team, and
Agreed.
they took our best shot, and it still wasn't enough. I believe Kansas City probably had another gear that they could have gotten to, but they didn't need to because we're just not good enough. Um, I don't want to blame our team for losing that game because Kansas City is going to beat a lot of people
Yep.
throughout the season, and we were just one of those teams. But I will say that the problem is the timing of this game, based on where we are as a team, where we are in this season, and the fact that this was a game we really needed to win because of other games we've lost, a la Chicago and maybe the Dallas game. It make this game a harder game and a harder loss for us because I think most people, to a man, women included, when everybody looked at the schedule and gave their record prediction, I bet you damn near everybody had us losing that game on the road Monday night in Kansas City. And we did. And I think most people had us losing the game, even before the season. But that being the case, the fact of us coming into this game at 3-4, facing Kansas City, made this loss even worse because it puts us in a bigger hole. Because coming into this game, if we were 5-2 and we lost the game in Kansas City, man, that's a tough place to play. Pat Mahomes, one of the best in the league, multi MVP of the league. Man, they got healthy. They're probably gonna go back to the Super Bowl.
Right.
We'd have been fortunate to win the game. But when you're 3-4 and this game's gonna sing to 3-5, that loss feels real hard, feels real heavy. So for me, it sucks to lose anytime my team loses, man. But hey, I there was no way. I had put my confidence number as a 1, but I will
Right.
say this, man. We have always, for weeks upon weeks, been very critical of the team, and most importantly, not most importantly, but most often than not, we've been very critical of the defense. And I, for one, I said it on Twitter, and I want to do it here. I want to give a big shout out to the defense because the defense came to play in the first half. They gave our offense every opportunity to be in that game. Our defense held Kansas City had put up 60 something points in the last 2 games prior to Monday night, and they held that offense to 7 points. in the first half. You tell me we lose, we get Debo and Terry back, and the defense is going to play good, and they're going to hold that offense at 7 points. I say we got a chance. And yet come out, and like anything, Kansas City is a better team. I think the defense, you can even argue that, man, they maybe got a little tired because of the energy and the effort that they gave in the first half. I mean, they're flying all over the place. And Kansas City just wear you out, man. They got weapons at every position. Running back, tight end, wide receiver, and we know the quarterback position. I mean, hell, if you look at least, I'm trying to think, two of their touchdowns came where Pat Mahomes held the ball what seemed like for 10 minutes.
Right.
Right? The original play was taken away by the defense. But it's one of those things you got to defend them until the whistle blows. That long pass, I mean, everybody saw it, right? That 40-yard catch and run by Kelsey. Kelsey wasn't even part of the play.
No.
Right? But he runs 40 yards and sets up a touchdown that ended up being a busted play because Pat Mahomes out there running around. Rasheed Rice. I mean, he's running to his left, and all of a sudden he's pretty much, before he runs out of bounds, he dumps the ball for probably 20 yards to Juju Smith. I mean, the defense did everything they could, man, but that offense and their ability to just keep a play alive, because the play is never over with Pat Mahomes, they kill teams on that. And they killed us last night. We were no exception to it, man. So, hey, I give my hats off to the defense, because I will say this, and I know I'm kind of on a long rant here, but I will say this. Out of our 8 games that this team has played, and I know they've had some better statistical game defensively, that might have been their best defense performance because of who they did it against. And that's how I feel about it.
I think the first half they definitely played solid. I think at the end of the day on this, what I've come to realize is I think we now know the team that we have. Right? I said week 3, week 4, week 5. What team is this? Right?
And who are we?
Yeah, who are we? I mean, and part of that is injuries, right? And it's not so much offensively. We might not ever get in sync all year long, right? We have moments. We might have moments. We might have drives. We might have a half. But being in sync like we were last year, from beginning to end, even we had some periods of struggle offensively last year. There just seems to be everything out of sync. Long drives aren't happening this year. Not consider. You might get one. You might get 1.5 and it stalls. You only get 3 points. You get another couple 3 points for a big play here or there, and you get 1 touchdown. And defensively,
long drives. Shit, we're not even getting quick drives, Ken. We're not getting no drives.
I understand. But it's a matter of being in sync. I'm saying you may, but offensively we are not in sync. Quarterbacks in and out, wide receivers in and out, running backs. You don't have. I don't think Kingsbury. I'm not being critical of him, but I think he's trying to still figure out at this moment, because of all the turmoil offensively, what do we do well, and how can we capitalize on what we do well.
Are you being critical of Cliff?
And if I don't know if it's being critical. I think I'm calling it for what it is. Part of it, I think we do need to run more. It's easier to run overall in the NFL than it is in a passing game, where your quarterback is in and out, and your receivers are all over the place. Our offensive line has been consistent overall. Our running backs, other than Austin Eckler, have been consistent and have been there. And I know I mentioned Bill, but if you want to run Rodriguez, that's fine. You want to mix and match, but I think we should have the way that our team is set up and the injuries that we have had left and right, front and center. We should be leaning more on our running game and have the pass game. We shouldn't be 60% passing and 40% running. It should almost be a little bit it doesn't even need to be that far off. Give me 55% running right now. Once the passing game gets more in sync, I mean, just look at how many drops do we have? We had a drop that hit his hands, hit his face, and it was intercepted. Ertz dropping another one. The rookie dropping one, and these are not all super easy catches, but they're catches you made last year. They're catches that you made in other parts of your career, and all of a sudden you can't make them.
I understand, but let me say this, man. I know you have a desire to run the football, and I think we should run the football. But I think what we are forgetting here is the inability to run the ball the past 3 to 4 games is because teams loaded the box to take away our run game because that was all we had. We came into the game as the number one rushing team the past few weeks. Number one, number two in the league in rushing. So you know what they came to do? Well, we know we can take away the run game because they got no wide receivers. So when you load the box, it doesn't matter. We don't have Walter Payton. We don't have Barry Sanders in the backfield. Hell, we don't even have Saquon Barkley back there. He even gets shut down when you load the box. So Bill Krosky-Merritt, Jeremy McNichols, and Chris Rodriguez ain't going to be able to get it done when you load the box because you got Jaden Lane, Robbie Chosen, Luke McCaffrey, and I don't even Chris Moore. I mean, these are the guys on the outside, so you can't run the ball. They were daring you to throw the ball. So for me to fully gauge our ability to run the football, I can't do that if we don't have our full arsenal of players. Hell, you don't even have a Jayden Daniels in some cases. So to say we need to run the ball, they tried, but the inability to do so was simply because of the injuries. The injuries affected, and so I myself look, man. I'm just as critical of this coaching staff and even some of the players and the plays and things they're called. But I have to sit back and understand and go. But there's only so much they can do. The fact that this team is averaging well over 20 something points a game with no name receivers, and your star quarterback who's missed 3 games, and he's still able to put up points. I mean, come on, man. You got to give Cliff some credit. He's still trying to scheme guys open, but the ability to run the ball is going to be difficult when a team loads up the box and dare you to pass the ball. You got. I mean, come on.
No, and that's why I said I was a little bit hesitant to be critical of him. I think the passing attack that he has overall has been good. I think there's been spots where I don't agree with what he is doing in moments. Again, I'll go
Sure.
go to that. There's just a few spots where I'm like, why are we running that play? And I'll go back to even. It's not
always
really
going to be the case, Ken, because we did that last year. Hell, we won 12 games, and we was questioning some games with why did Cliff do this or why didn't he do this? I mean, you're always going to question calls throughout the game. You may even question what kind of we're in that defense, or why did Dan Quinn make that decision? So questioning Cliff on certain calls of the game, I 100% get that, right? I didn't like the 4th and play, and then he decided to go for the bomb against Terry.
I don't think that was the go-to play. I think he was either second or third check on that, and that was on Mariota. I think that was on Mariota more than anything else. And almost like he just like trying to throw it away. Like, it's 4th down, throw an interception down there at the 5-yard line. You're better off. But and I will say, when I was going to, and I want to kind of move on to the Seattle, I will say, to know who we are. I talked about the defense. I think offensively, we're just an out of sync offense. Can we get in sync? Maybe, but are we going to get healthy? I mean, the people that were out there yesterday, let's say Jaden doesn't come back. But if Jaden doesn't come back, is Terry going to be there every week? Is Debo going to be there? I mean, who's going to be there and who's not going to be there to have some level of consistency week in, week out, just in practice? If you're playing in the game but you're missing half a week of practice, that eliminates you being in sync from there also. On defense, look, we're just not going to get a pass rush at all this year. We haven't been, and we're not going to. There's no cavalry. There's nobody getting better. There's nobody getting healthy. There's nobody on the street that's better than what we have right now. Could we throw in a blitz here or there? Maybe, but you're going to give up, what you're doing in the from a coverage perspective.
But Jacob Martin showed up, man. Come on, give him some love.
Like there was he showed up in the first half or second half. Nobody showed up in the second half as far as the pass rush. He look. You said Reggie and I did not watch the game together this week, and I was sitting there. I was like, "Good gosh, he's got 5 seconds, 6 seconds." I mean, he's checking 1, checking 2, checking 3, and then at that point, it's turning into street football. Numerous times he had time for it to turn into all of his checks and then street football. And I don't want to play Patrick Mahomes with street football and the speed that they have.
That's why they got a lot of plays. They got a lot of big plays, and they got that's how they got a couple of touchdowns. But that being the case, I'm not going to take away from Jacob Martin, man, because look, you can get Myles Garrett, you can get J.J. Watt or T.J. Watt, I'm sorry, playing against Pat Mahomes. They may not get 2 sacks in a game. 2 sacks and 2 tackle for loss and 3 quarterback pressures. I mean, he can't be a one-man show. That kid showed up, man, and he was balling last night. He can't do it all by himself. And so for him to step up and be able to have an impact on the defense the way he did, if nothing else, that's a plus. Maybe there's something here that he's going to get some opportunities, and maybe he can take and run with this. But we had our not a blitz, not a linebacker blitz, and not a safety blitz, not a corner blitz. This is your 4-down lineman who got 2 sacks on Pat Mahomes and 3 quarterback pressures, and you can't tell me that didn't affect the game. Absolutely, it did.
In the first half, yes.
Okay, call it what you want, man. But they made an adjustment, but the guy was still able to make some plays. Hell, we've gone games we didn't get that.
Fair enough. Right. And that's what I said. The first half the defense played good. They played very well against a team like Kansas City. We'd have been happy if they've been playing, the Raiders again with that kind of defense, but we're playing Kansas City. But we can turn the page on this and move towards this Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks are 5-2. They've already had their bye, so they have only played 7 games. They're going to be flying across country to DC. Couple things real quick. If you haven't paid attention to Seattle, I think most people don't realize that Seattle's 5-2. They probably think they're a 500 team like they have been for a handful of years. Some years there'll be a game or two over 500, a game or two below 500. But that's the team that they've been the last 4 or 5 years. But 5-2, Sam Darnold starting at quarterback out there. And at 5-2, the 2 games that they lost were Jacksonville and I just lost my mind on who they were. Who the other game was. Another good it was another good team, another playoff contending team, and they lost both games just by like a field goal. Okay. And they are 5th in scoring in the NFL currently, and they're 7th defensively. They're 7th in points allowed. So they're top 10 offensively and defensively from a scoring perspective of them scoring and preventing other teams from scoring.
So let me correct you. They lost to the Buccaneers and the 49ers.
That's right. I was thinking it was Jaguars week 1 against the 49ers.
And I'm going to look on here, man. And let me just say this. Not taking anything away from Seattle, because look, man, they can only play the teams that's on their schedule. But they lost to the 49ers and the Buccaneers, and their wins, of those 5 wins, tell me which one you think is most impressive. They beat the Texans, they beat the Jaguars, they beat the Cardinals, they beat the Saints, and they beat the Steelers.
A few of those teams, I'd say, which team are you getting? You know, which Jaguars team are you getting? They looked decent early on.
I'm just
Steelers,
saying
which
they play
team? You know,
they
which
played
team are you getting?
Jacksonville and
Eh,
3, 4, 5, week 6.
Yeah, and
So
Houston, which team are you getting?
they played Houston 2 weeks ago because they had their bye last week. So
Right,
they had their they played Seattle in week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry,
right,
week
right.
7. So they played
Um,
Houston week 7, Jaguars week 6. Then they lost the Buccaneers week 5. Week 4 they barely beat the Cardinals. Week 3 they beat the Saints. Week 2 they beat the Steelers, and week 1 they lost. And so they caught the Steelers early, week 2.
right, right, right.
So my point is saying all of that is none of these are real impressive wins except for Pittsburgh just based on record. But again, they played Pittsburgh in week 2. The good teams, Buccaneers and the 49ers, they lost to both of those teams. So
Um,
now they're still better than us,
right.
but
Well, yeah.
but
I mean, they're playing more consistent. Win or lose, they're playing some consistent football. Like I said, when you see the games, and as I mentioned, their losses were close losses. Um, the Bucks, which is a good team, was it like 35-38 or something like that?
yep, 35-38, and
Yeah,
then 17-13 to the Niners.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, I knew that both of their losses were close games. Like I said, Sam Darnold there. You got Cooper Cup there, Jackson Smith, uh,
Say it again.
in Jigba. Is that right?
I think that's it. I've never been
I
able
think
to
in
pronounce
Jigba.
that dude's name.
Yeah, and I don't mean to
Just,
be saying it wrong.
just call him
Um,
Stud. Just call him a
he
Stud.
is good, and funny thing is Reggie and I, we've said it 1,000 times now. We're here in the Dallas area, and I saw him play in high school. He played against the against Allen, a powerhouse team here, and he single handedly won that game for him. Uh,
Jackson Enigma.
yes, he did. He
Who-
was going. I still remember, and I'm like, why aren't y'all putting 2 or 3 people on the guy? Because they would just throw a screen and he'd make a move on one guy, make a move on another guy, and was faster than everybody else after that. Nobody could catch him. And they did
Who did
it
he play for?
over and over. Rockwall played in Rockwall here in Texas. And I
Yeah.
don't think they ended up winning states, but the kid was special. From there, he goes on to Ohio State, and he played 3 years at Ohio State. He only had one good year. His freshman year was he only had a handful of catches. His sophomore year, he had a very good year. His junior year, he got injured and didn't have a down year, and somehow he still got. Everybody saw from his sophomore year had enough value in him that he went in the first round to Seattle. So he was a 5-star recruit.
Yeah, the kid was good. I mean, and
Yes.
sometimes you don't need to see. You watch the tape, right? I mean, they've seen enough from this kid to know that he was a stud.
Yeah. Um, but him and Cooper Cup, their running game is a kind of a two-headed monster. Kenneth Walker is the bigger, stronger back, and then with Zach Carbonnet, they almost split time, and go from there. Mike McDonald is their second-year head coach. He was the former defensive coordinator out of Baltimore, known for their defenses, and he turned it over there and has them playing pretty solid defense. by no means dominant. I'm not going to go that far, but they're playing very good defense. And back when Seattle was winning Super Bowls, they were known for the defense more than even what Russell Wilson and Marshawn were doing out there.
Well, the thing about Seattle here is that you mentioned consistent play. They are able to get pressure with their front four, right?
Right.
And whenever you can get pressure with your front four, you're going to probably be a fairly good defense because now you don't have to obviously put extra men in the box and expose the secondary and things of that nature, right? So that's part of their success on the defensive side of the ball. And to your point on the offensive side of the ball, Sam Darnold's playing good football. He's doing exactly what he did in Minnesota last year. They have star power on the wide receiver. The O line is really good, and so therefore they're able to run the ball. So they're not just a one dimensional type football team. And so you have to be able to defend the whole field against them, basically simply because of you have to be respectful of not only the passing game but the running game. And Washington is going to have to pretty much continue what they did against Kansas City, but they're gonna have to do it for 4 quarters.
Right.
And because despite how good Seattle is, they're not Kansas City.
Right.
And maybe the quality of play the defense played on Monday Night Football, if they can do that on Sunday Night Football, then Washington will have a chance, right? Um, we talk about injuries that has plagued our team this entire season. Another thing that's been an issue is complementary football. The defense plays okay, then the offense does not. Defense gets a stop, the offense does nothing. The offense can do something, but then the defense can't stop the opponent. Then you got special teams gaps, right? We saw what Jaden Lane did last night. It's like I don't know why he didn't let the ball go in the end zone. He touches it, puts the offense at the 2-yard line. So we've not put together a complete game yet. And it's funny because we have been saying this all season long. But maybe a little bit of home cooking, get back, and maybe there's a little bit of confidence in the level of play that they were competing with the likes of Kansas City for a half, even though we were still undermanned a little bit, that maybe there's some confidence in, hey, if we can keep getting healthy, we might be able to turn this thing around. I'm wishful thinking here, man. I'm hopeful. But at the end of the day, being able to play sound football and finally putting together a complete complementary game on all phases, I think is in order, man. We have to be able to do something here. We know that we got some injuries coming out of the Kansas City game. Laramie Tunsil with his groin. Javon Kinlaw, his right shoulder. And Terry was pulled out of somewhat re-injuring his quad. And I don't know if it was bad enough that he couldn't go back in the game, or it was just a situation where they just chose to take precautionary measures and just not put him back in the game. But hopefully all those guys will play Sunday.
Right. Right.
And of the three, the one guy I would be okay not playing would be Laramie Thompson, because I think Brandon Coleman, who filled in after being inactive since week 2, stepped in and pretty much did fine because he played left tackle all last year and he did
Right.
fine.
Right.
And I don't know that Kansas City has some all-pro defensive end that he needs to worry about. But, man, having Kinlaw on the field and Terry on the field, I think, is a must if they're going to have a chance to win this game.
Yeah, I would agree with if there's one person out of those three that is not going to make it, I would vote for Tunzel to not to be the one that doesn't quite make it back for this particular game. Yeah, I mean it's is this the game that Washington does things right? You don't need to be perfect, but you need to be consistent. That's offensively, defensively.
Special teams.
Special teams. When we talked before about what's it going to take to win this game, don't hurt yourself. Hey, overall, good week on penalties, minimal penalties overall for this week. Um, Yet you got to catch the ball. Help your quarterback. Catch the easy ones, and you know what? Catch some of the challenging ones. I mean, look. Terry came in. The catch that Terry made. As a matter of fact, two catches that Terry made. The one for the touchdown and the one for the first down. Um, everybody should be watching that and hit the catcher machine and catch them. Spending 20 minutes catching them down by your ankles. Spend 20 minutes jumping up in the air, fully stretched and catching them. Because the quarterback isn't going to put them on the money. They're scrambling. They're trying to do what they got to do just to get the ball to you sometimes. And so I'm hopeful that'll be the case. To your point, what we saw from the defense in the first half against Kansas City, you know what people were doing when they got to the ball? They tackled them. Right? It sounds so simple, but that's not what they were doing the past 2 or 3 games prior. There was missed tackles, there was missed assignments, there was things that you just looking at, and everybody's kind of looking at each other like, who was supposed to do that? Who's supposed to fill that gap? Who's supposed to cover that guy in coverage? There was minimal amount of that this past week. All of a sudden you saw Reeves. Man, Reeves is flying around there. Some of the younger players, McGee, you started seeing a lot more of him. The lineman that you mentioned, getting some playing time. Man, young guys, step up. This is your opportunity. This is your opportunity, and do what you did last week and carry on with it and build it. And maybe we walk away. I know we're all thinking, we might not win another game this year. I mean, you almost feel like that, right? That's not reality, but you almost feel like that after the past couple weeks.
Nobody thinks like that.
Yeah, you feel like it. I didn't say you think like it. You feel like it. There's a difference between emotions and your logic behind things. But this could be the week that we get things turned around and start playing right.
You think so?
I don't know. Is it time to find out?
Let's find out, because I want to know.
What's your name? What's your number? Where's your confidence? And we talked about what could be, but now we hold you to the line. What do you think it's going to be? Reg, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
You can go first.
I think defensively, we can build off of last week. We can see something closer to what we saw in the first half. Playing Kansas City on Monday night, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of focus. It gets you going. They weren't able to do that for an entire game. Could they do that against a team definitely not as good as Kansas City in Seattle? If they give that same performance against Seattle, is it going to look even better? Potentially it is, right? It could look the same. Different strengths, different weaknesses, but I think the defense has something to carry over. The last few weeks, it seems like it was just total confusion on defense. They're limited on their skills because of injuries to the line, but I think maybe the light bulb is flickering on how to play together as a team and as a unit. That's what I saw in Kansas City. Offensively, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to get in sync. That's the big question is when is that going to happen? Is Jaden back again? And now all of a sudden you got a different quarterback. Is Terry going to be playing? Is he not going to be playing? All that being said, I'm dead center. I am on the fence. I'm flipping a coin. I'm at a 5. I'm truly at a 5 this game coming on. And I know people don't like 5s, right? You're like, pick a side, I can't.
I think we need to start
indecisive on
eliminating
this.
5.
What's
I
that?
think we need to start going with picking a number from 1 to 10, and you can't pick 5.
And you can't pick 5.
We need to start doing that.
All right. Hey, this is the first time when I don't know. I definitely haven't picked a 5 this year.
You've not this year, but you was a big 5 guy for a while.
Well, I don't know about for a while. It might have been a game last week or last year or whatever. But anyway, I'm just being honest. I'm sitting right on the 5, and I don't like it. I don't like it.
Okay, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet, man. Look, this season is circling the toilet bowl. Okay, and I don't know if it's gonna go down, but it's circling in the toilet bowl right now. And
Well, that's the place you don't want to be at all, in the toilet bowl. But go ahead.
well, at 3 and 5, we're in the damn toilet bowl, kid.
Okay.
Now, whether or not it's gonna take a second flush, I don't know. But right now, it's circling. Okay. But look, man, at the end of the day, based on everything you said, maybe there's some hope from the defense. Maybe something's gonna click and they're gonna turn this thing around. The moral victory, you competed with one of the best teams. You showed that you belong. And if we just get healthy, maybe we can turn this thing around and catch lightning in a bottle. For me, this is a must-win game. Because you can't become 3 and 6 and think that you're going to salvage the season. And I feel like the team knows it, and I know the coaches know it. Because that hole is going to be too big to dig from. And given everything that we said, I know Seattle record-wise is a 5-2 team. I just don't know that they're leaps and bounds better than Washington.
Right.
And the fact that we are at home, I feel like the reason we're 3 and 5 is due to injuries and circumstances. It's not because we're just a bad team. I think Washington is going to pull this game out. I really do. And so I'm going to say that I am going to give this a 7.
7. Ooh, I thought you were going to come in at a 6, but a 7. He went from a
right before I gave my number, it was a 6, but I'm going with a 7. I think they're gonna pull this out. Now, I don't know what's gonna happen the week after, but I think they're gonna be desperate in this game, and I think they're gonna pull this game out if nothing else. Hell, this may be the last game they win, but I think they win this game.
Yeah, I like it. We'll be in DC for this one.
Yeah, and that's another reason. I hope they win because we're gonna be there for it. I don't be sitting out there in the cold, man. And
never want to travel. Yeah, and my guess based off of the weather, Reggie, it should be dry. No rain Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, and every day it's roughly 60 degrees for a high and 40 degrees for a low, roughly. So my guess is that at game time, it's probably going to be, I won't go 55, 54. It might drop down to.
It's going to be 8:30 at night. It's going to be a little chilly.
Yeah, it's going to drop probably 5 or 7 degrees from the high of 60. And just, ladies and gentlemen, Reggie's going to be wearing a parka at 52 degrees. He's going to have all of his hand warmers, his thermals, his muckalucks. Reggie don't even know what a muckaluck is, but he's going to buy some and
be what that is. But you're right. I may have all of that stuff. The one thing you better call me is warm. Call me
without
warm.
a doubt. But let us know what you think. Are we too optimistic? Are we abandoning ship too early? What are we doing here? Let us know. Hit us up on Twitter. Been scrolling down there at the 2 Knuckleheads. Let us know. Till next time. Peace out, Knuckleheads.
Peace out. Raise hell.